excited to finally meet you.
Same here. I'm glad you made it to Lowndes County.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're excited. I will tell you, Dinah, the RCD, the Rural Community Development Program, is so incredibly important to all the anti-poverty work that we're doing at the Office of Community Services. So I'm excited to be here with you and to visit Lowndes for the first time. So I know a fair amount about Communities Unlimited, but would you tell me a little bit more?
Communities Unlimited serves 7 states. It's Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And we're the southern partner in RCAP, Rural Community Assistance Partnership, which I'm sure you're familiar with, okay? And we provide training and technical assistance to small communities in those 7 states. And the type of assistance can range from helping them develop policies, doing rate studies for them, help them really do whatever it takes to get funded for projects and apply for funding for projects. We work with water systems and we work with wastewater systems and decentralized systems like Ms. Burke's septic system and the straight pipes. You know, that's our decentralized program that we have.
You know, I'm still new to all of this. So can you tell me, what is a decentralized system?
Okay, decentralized system means it's a wastewater system that treats the residents, one resident, maybe 2, but usually it's 1 home on either a septic system, which is just a tank in the ground, and it's piped to the home is piped to that tank, and all the waste goes in it. And then the solids settle to the bottom of that tank, and the liquids float and runs out of the tank, and usually it's to a field line is what you call it, or what we call it, and which is just a network of pipes that's perforated, and the liquid goes into the ground. And normally the ground absorbs it. Now that is an issue here in the Black Belt.
Yes, because of the soil.
Right, exactly right. And so Ms. Burke has a decentralized septic system, a decentralized wastewater system, and she has a septic system. We're going to see a straight pipe later.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
So Dinah, what I understand is that it took about 10 years to get those 50 homes on the wastewater system.
Yes,
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
You're correct, 10 years for the 50 homes. They applied for funding about 10 years ago, according to Mayor Bethel of Whitehall. And there was a whole bunch of things that happened. Of course, it's just the natural process of the applying and then getting the funding approved and then getting the money awarded. But it also had some they had some problems with right-of-ways and trying to get approval from people to cross their property to get the lines laid. So according to Mayor Bethel, that was the biggest problem, was that they had a lot of issues they had to resolve with right-of-ways. So that's what really took the 10 years.
And I also understand that, too, in a lot of these rural communities, they're very short-staffed.
That's right. That always slows the process down because they can't afford to hire people that, you know, a lot of people to work for the towns. And so what ends up happening, the same people that has a normal 8-hour day job and taking care of customers and fixing leaks and on water lines and stuff like that, has to handle the legwork of something like gathering information for an application or working with the engineer to get the right design for the wastewater system. And so they're already, you know, booked up. Their days are booked up. So it's really hard for them to find the time to be able to do everything that they need to do. So that's kind of where we come in.
That's exactly why we fund organizations like Communities Unlimited. You all are our boots on the ground here. Should we go in and meet Ms. Burke?
Yeah, let's go meet Ms. Burke. All right. Hopefully she'll answer the door, huh?
Well, I hope so.
Hi, Ms. Burke.
Hi.
I'm Dinah with Communities Unlimited.
Yes.
And this is Dr. Howard.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you for letting us come to your home today.
Sure.
Thank you. So I'll take it off since we're outside.
Okay, yeah.
But it is such a pleasure. Thank you so much for allowing us to come to your home and to tell us about your water system today. My name is Lanico Howard, and I'm the director of the Office of Community Services within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay.
And so we administer 7 programs to help both rural and urban communities with social services programs. And so that's why I'm here today, just to better understand what is going on here, and then also see what one of our grant recipients, Community Unlimited, is doing in Lowndes County. So what kind of issues are you experiencing with your septic system?
Well, the issue is the system collapsed. And after it collapsed, it's just we've had an overflow of water, especially when it rains. Like now it rains. So, and the water is not, I think it's pumping out, going out, but it goes out slowly. So if it gets overfilled, then we can have the issue of backup, like maybe in the kitchen sink or the bathtub, bathroom. If we use the washing machine, how often we use the washing machine. And if it overfills and it doesn't go out fast enough, then we have those type of issues.
So you're actually seeing the waste come back up in the laundry and in the sink and...
In the bathtub, we can hear the toilet stool bubbling. And when it got too full, like if it rained and we got too full, what I did was, because born and raised here in Lowndes County, knowing how to do those type of things, because at one time, we didn't have that type of stuff when I was coming up, so I knew how to utilize the use of not having an actual inside bathroom. So what I did was, instead of me letting my water from the washing machine actually pump through the system because it was already full, I would just take the pipe loose, hold it down on the bucket, and just throw it out the back door, just to kind of,
to make sure the waste wasn't coming back into the laundry.
Because if it gets full, then that's what happens. So we lived with it, we dealt with it, and and we're still dealing with it.
So it sounds like you've just become accustomed to it, and you're just doing...
Yep.
And will you show us
Sure.
your septic system?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Watch your step.
Thank you. And you've been here for 55 years.
That's what I was going to ask about too. 55 years.
Less than married years, but divorced, so moved back home. Well, we can go down this way.
And so you said you moved back home?
Yeah, this is home for me.
Ms. Burke, is this the failing septic system? Is this the one that collapsed that you mentioned?
This is the one that's collapsed, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and so that's the pipe that comes out of the house?
Right, that's the one it runs.
And the tank used to be underground?
The tank used to be here, right,
Okay.
right here. This is where the tank is, actually right here.
Okay. And Ms. Burke, you mentioned that when, like in rainy season, like right now, that when there's a lot of rain, you'll actually hear gurgling in like your sink and your toilets and your shower, especially like when you're trying to do something like drain your washing machine, washing clothes and stuff. And to make it clear, Dr. Howard, that gurgling is actually raw sewer.
Yes.
That should be in that septic tank that is coming up.
Wow.
Yes, as she tries to put more water into the tank from draining her washing machine or taking a shower, then it just gargles up into the other piping in her house.
Right, it backs up in the house because it's too full and it's not flowing out fast enough. So if it's not flowing out fast enough and the tank is overflowed, then it's going to back. It has to go somewhere. So if it can't go out, it's going to come back in.
So your little ones can be in the tub or in the shower, and it'll just come out with sewage instead of water.
Yes.
And Dinah, is it supposed to look like this?
No. Actually, no.
No. This is just a covering. And what we did was we put a covering here to help kind of like when it rains, to kind of help keep a lot of the water out because the system is actually full. So this is why this is why it looks like this. So we actually covered it up to help with that.
So Mayor Bethel is applying for funding and going after some grant money to help the town put in this wastewater system. And that's why Ms. Howard's here, so she can see, because her agency is directly involved with the grant funds that the mayor is applying for. So you may want to give her more detail about that.
So we fund a number of different organizations all across the country to help rural communities be able to apply for those grant funds, to be able to do all of the planning for the new systems to make sure that you all do actually get on the wastewater system. So we know that having running water. We know that having access to proper and safe sanitation is fundamental to everything it is that we do, everything that we need to be able to go about our days. And so we are working with Communities Unlimited. We're working with a number of partners all across the country to make that happen.
Okay,
So-
sounds good.
Yeah, so we're excited to be able to come out and see. We know that it's difficult, and we know that you've been dealing with it for a long time. So we're working as quickly as we possibly can to be able to make sure that we can get you all connected to the wastewater system here.
So I thank you all so very much for coming. It's just a blessing that we've been waiting on. And like I say, you have not because you asked not. And we've been praying for this for a long time. So I'm just glad y'all coming and taking the time out to do this for us.
Well, it is
Yes.
our absolute pleasure, and we appreciate you for letting us come out to your home
Yes,
this morning.
Definitely, thank you. What we're going to do a little bit later is we're going to go to a home that has a straight pipe, that they have no septic tank at all, and the sewer just comes out of the house. So that's what we're going to show Dr. Howard next, because that's another major issue here in Lowndes County.
Okay.
So thank you so much for
You're welcome.
doing this for
Thank
us.
you.
Yes, thank y'all again for coming.
So what did you think, Dr. Howard?
Dinah, no one should have to deal with this. I know we always talk about 2 million people across the country without access to running water, but you think about the need for sanitation systems, the need for wastewater.
It's not a problem that you would think that we'd be having in America in 2022. And you know, you think about, she has 9 grandchildren that she has to make sure they don't go in the backyard and play. Because if they get into that raw sewer, they could get sick. I mean, deadly sick, you know? And it's a sad situation, but that happens a lot in these rural areas. And you know, most of the people in these small rural communities just don't have the income to spend that kind of money to fix that problem. And there's not many programs available for them to access to be able to get a grant to put in a new septic system, a new septic tank and field lines.
And for me, it just helps me understand why this program, why the Rural Community Development Program is so needed. Because I think about even Mayor Roberto having a full-time job and being a part-time mayor and having to figure out this wastewater system and get it out to these 350 homes.
Exactly.
And the fact that you all are helping him to figure that out, to apply for all of the grants, to do the applications, I mean.
You know, and I think that's one of the great things about what we do at Communities Unlimited is that we are able to reach out and help these people.
And for me, it's so alarming because you think about the work that we do at the Administration for Children and Families and how this actually impacts children.
Children, exactly. And I think that's where the focus has to be, the children and the families living in those homes with either no septic system, like the straight pipe, or a failing one, like we just saw at Miss Burke's.
Yeah. Okay, and this is Miss Lisa.
Yes, Miss Lisa has a straight pipe that removes the waste from her house.
Hi.
Hi, are you
Hi,
Miss
Miss-
Lisa?
Yes.
Hi, Miss Lisa.
Hi.
I'm Dinah.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm with the Communities Unlimited, and this is Miss Howard.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You know, Lowndes County has a lot of wastewater problems, and we're here to kind of take a look at what your home needs, and you know, just talk to you a little bit about the problems that you've been experiencing. Would you show us the straight pipe and stuff?
And Lisa, is this your home?
My mother's home.
This is your mother's home, okay. And how long have you all been here?
About 50 years.
50 years, oh wow.
Yeah.
And so Lowndes County is home, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And you were gonna show us something here?
Yeah, that's where the pipe comes from the house. And I think it comes out.
Now,
out
is
to-
that the sewer? Or is that the
the septic
wash
tank is
machine water?
somewhere. That's the
Oh,
washing
here.
machine line right there.
Okay.
But the sewer tank was somewhere up in here, I think.
And it failed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Over the years,
So
yeah.
it comes out of the house there, and
And
then
straight pipe out here.
through there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you had a septic system before. That septic system failed, and so you had to do a straight pipe. And my understanding of the straight pipe, after talking to Dinah, is that it's taking the wastewater from directly in the house and pulling it right through the pipe into the yard here. Okay. And will you show us where that pipe is?
It's right there.
Okay, so it goes straight through here.
Yes.
And it looks like it goes on into the
Out
woods.
to there, yes.
Okay. Yeah, and you can see here, Dr. Howard, that the pipe is broken, so the sewer is coming out.
Yeah. And I can see kind of the tissue and.
That's right. And the dangerous part is that when it does rain, like if you had a really heavy rain, this is going to fill up and run into other parts of the yard and really make it sloppy. And it can definitely cause health concerns, diseases, you know, waterborne disease, disease that may be in the solids or E. coli, all that stuff. And especially if you have children, if they get into it, it can be really dangerous for them, and they always love to play in water. And you can see that there's some creepy crawlies in there that looks like worms or leeches or something. And you know, here in Lowndes County, 30% of the people tested had hookworms, which you never hear about hookworms in the United States anymore, you know. And it was caused by raw sewer in people's yards because of straight pipes or failing septic systems. It was in their yard. That's why it's so important that communities get on public sewer systems, have properly working septic tanks. You know, that's why it's important that more time and energy is put into helping the people of Lowndes County get a proper sewer system, whether it be a septic tank and field lines, or it's piped into a municipal public works sewer treatment plant. Either way, it does need to be done. Because this will also attract mosquitoes, critters like snakes and stuff like that, rats, so it can really be a health concern.
Well, we want to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that her house is one of the houses that are going to be hooked up to the wastewater system. And so Communities Unlimited, with funding from the Office of Community Services, is trying to help the city, trying to help the mayor get a wastewater system in place for Whitehall.
Thank you, Lisa, for showing this to us, and it's really important for Dr. Howard and her agency to see, you know, this situation and what y'all need in this area.
So thank you again, Lisa. I mean, it's one thing to actually read about it. It's another thing to actually be here, to see it, to smell it, to understand what you all are really going through, to understand why the work that we're doing is so important. And it's because of the Rural Community Development Program. It's because of Communities Unlimited that we're able to get out and be able to do this work. And it's why Communities Unlimited is our boots on the ground. Like, they're not sitting in some office in DC. They're actually here understanding what the problems are, understanding what the issues are, so that we know where to put our money, so that we know how to invest back into our community. So I just appreciate you taking the time out today to speak with us, to show us, and just to help us better understand so we can do better with the resources that we have. We appreciate it tremendously.
You're welcome.
And you'll have to tell your mom I said thank you.